Hi, Martin here,
And Kieran.
and we're here to give you a quick instructional video on how to set up your desktop computer so that it puts you in the best position to look after this really precious spine and nervous system that you have, given that we are spending so much of our day working at computers. So we've got a separate video that shows you how to set up for a laptop. There's some similarities, but there's a couple of really key differences when you're setting up for a desktop, so we'll run through everything here. As with the laptop, key thing is we're going to start from the bottom up. So first thing is Kieran's got his feet absolutely flat on the floor. He's not crossing his legs, which will create a bit of a twist or torsion through your lower back and cause tension to build up through the day. He sets the height of the chair. If you have a gas lift chair, you want the height of the chair so that his hip is either at the same level as his knee, so we've got a horizontal line there, or his hip is slightly higher than his knee, because that allows him to maintain a really good lower back position. Whereas if you sit with your hips lower than your knees, it's really easy to kind of get into that rounded, horrible, loading up your lower back position. So once we've got that position, we then want to make sure that that height is still okay for his elbow position. So what we really want is as close to possible as a 90-degree angle here so that he can have nice relaxed shoulders while his hands are on the keyboard. What we don't want is so high that he's sort of reaching down or so low that he's scrunching his shoulders up to get his fingers onto the keyboard. So that height looks pretty good. Then what we want to do is to zoom in or out so that we've got a nice relaxed position here. So if Kieran was too far back, he'd be reaching and then having to use all his shoulder muscles to hold his hands on the keyboard. What we want is that so that his arms are nice and relaxed by his side while he's using the keyboard. Same thing goes for the mouse. So a lot of people will have the keyboard set up right, but then end up having their mouse right across the desk where it's causing a heap of pressure through their shoulder that feeds back up into your neck and causes all sorts of problems there. So once we've got that set up, and this is where it's a bit different to the laptop setup, because with a desktop, the screen can be moved. So two different positions depending on whether you're needing to look at your keyboard much. So if you touch type or you're doing a lot of data entry where you're very rarely looking down at the keyboard, then you really want this screen a bit higher than we've got. And the landmark that I always use is the absolute dead center of the screen. If you're the sort of person who needs to look down at the keys periodically, you don't want the screen too high, otherwise you make you sort of dizzy going up and down. So the compromise is you have the center of the screen where it's hitting you at about chin level, and that way there's enough, you're never looking too far up and you're just working in this range here. If you're the sort of person who can touch type or you rarely need to look at your keys, then you can go up higher, which has the advantage of having a posture where your head is more balanced over your shoulders. So what we have now is a setup that's really set up for Kieran if he can touch type, meaning he doesn't often need to look down at the keys. He can spend all of his time just looking straight ahead at the screen. So in this setup, what we've done is we've put a couple of books underneath here to raise the screen up. And what that allows us to do is have the center of the screen really at the point where it's hitting Kieran at the lip level or the tip of his nose. And that's a really comfortable posture for him to be able to look at the screen and have his head posture really nicely balanced over the shoulder, which means nice relaxed ease through here. We're not building up so much tension on our neck, shoulders, etc. By looking down all the time. So this is only for people who can touch type, but it's a really optimal position that will mean that he feels nice and comfortable for hours and hours of work. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please feel free to shoot us a message and let us know what you think.